Yo, what's up? This is FantasyFling with DFS Army. This is your Week 18 cash lineup review. All right, we'll start over with the chalkboard. So this is a chalkboard, something that we use as DFS Army VIPs to kind of show us where the chalk is for the slate. Sometimes this is even something you can use in GPPs, knowing where is the chalk. You can come to this board and decide, who's going to be the guy that I maybe want to fade in GPPs. Do I want to fade Blake Corum? Do I want to fade, Will Shipley, 4,600 guy we don't know is going to get the carries or not, 10% ownership, that type of thing, seeing who you might want to fade. But in cash games, this is typically going to show you who a lot of the good plays are. And this is something that you can kind of use to piece together your lineup that we used through the course of the season. We knew that it was going to be Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Josh Jobs getting the most ownership. Josh Dobbs, 4K minimum, was a great pay down option at quarterback this week, did pretty well. And then Baker Mayfield at 7K was going to be the guy getting good ownership that was a must win game for them. And, was going against a defense that you typically want to target, kind of a dead team for New Orleans. So, we had to kind of identified Baker Mayfield as, one of the best cash options for the week at running back. We knew Bijan Robinson was going to be mega chalk going against a Carolina team that's a worst run defense in the league. So that was kind of a target for us. It was actually a core play just by looking at the matchup, the metrics, and knowing what a great player Bijan Robinson is. And then Bucky Irving was also in a good spot. He was definitely cash viable. Michael Carter was one of the the value options that was going to be getting a lot of ownership. He was also someone that you would have wanted to play in your cash lineup. Now, as far as wide receiver, it was pretty clear Mike Evans was the top play on the slate. They needed to win the game. There was incentives for him to get, 11,000-yard season. He needed like 85 yards. So they were going to target him. He got it. He ended up being good for cash. Wasn't good for tournaments, but that's typically what you want to target in cash games. Same with Cortland Sutton. He had a lot of incentives to play for, including the Broncos winning to get in the playoffs. So he was a good play. BTJ had been on an unreal tear. JSN was really kind of where we just bombed with the chalkboard here. And then Juwan Jennings, I mean, it would be nice if we could not roster players who are going to get ejected from games for fighting. It's happened twice this year. Puka Nakua cost me quite a bit. And Juwan Jennings once again here. But, these top spots were really well spelled out for you on the chalkboard. And then, Bowers, McBride, the usual suspects. I liked Zach Ertz here. Peyton Hendershot was a pay down guy. So, I think overall the chalkboard was pretty accurate this week. We'll go into my cheat sheet. We'll see what I had identified. Baker Mayfield, Josh Dobbs. So, really, I think did pretty well with the quarterbacks. Bijan is a core play. That couldn't have gone any better. Bucky Irving, it was I think he got there 17 points. He was definitely good enough for cash games. Carolina run defense or New Orleans was much better than anticipated. So he had to fight for those yards. It was actually a lot of hard fought yards, but he did pretty well. Charbonnet, was a guy that I liked, but actually liked Corum, Carter, and Sanders. Is kind of more of a value guys because it was for me, it was Bijan and then Evans. So it was gonna be hard to get Bucky in there as well. Unless you really found some value in other spots. Now, Michael Carter, loved him in cash this week. Good running back. Connor and Benson were on IR. So this was a good spot for him. Great value. I believe he was the top fantasy points per dollar play at 4,700. So we loved him. And then got on to Sanders late. Minimum pricing and expected to start and get the bulk of the carry. So he was viable at 4K and actually ended up making it into my lineup. The one mistake I think I really had, and obviously Blake Corum, that's just bad luck if you played him in cash and you didn't get there. He came in, got 2 carries, 10 yards. and then broke his forearm and missed the game. So just bad luck there. Nothing you can do about that. Mike Evans, Brian Thomas Jr., Cortland Sutton. Bad luck with Jennings as well. He was projected for the top ownership, really. When I made the notes, he ended up still being one of the high owned guys. And I like DK Metcalf. He was kind of one of my calls of the slate, 5,600. He definitely got there for cash. I liked him. JSM hurt us, and one mistake I made was not getting on London late. I should when I originally did the sheet. I didn't think you needed London. I thought Cortland Sutton was a better play, but given that Mooney, not London, Darnell Mooney was ruled out, I think made London a much better play, and that was a mistake of mine not adding him to the sheet. But overall, I think we did pretty well on the cash sheet with a lot of the hits with the wide receivers, the running backs, specifically the value guys with Bijan as core, and then Baker and Dobbs. So kind of go to my cash lineup here. This was I chose Baker, and really the decision point for me was once I got 4K Miles Sanders. I liked being able to fit the Baker and Mike Evans. I like the upside more for them, versus Josh Dobbs, who's just a 4K backup quarterback. So I loved Bijan at 34. He got 34 points, but I loved him at 8K. He was a core. Like I said, Michael Carter was getting too much ownership not to play as a top fantasy points per dollar play. So those were the guys I was on early. Came on to Sanders late. I think we did pretty well here. And it's funny. I was looking at like Peter Overzet, his cash lineup was like 162, and I believe he won the majority of his head to heads. So I didn't actually play any head to heads. I had a friend in town for the weekend. So my volume was a little less than normal. I threw this in some double ups and did not hit the cash line, but was like a point off of the cash line. So it was a pretty good week, I think, overall, process wise. I think we were on the right plays, with Baker, Bijan, Carter, Evans, Sutton, Jennings, our pay down tight end, our pay down defense, and then jamming in 4K Sanders there, getting, all the carries well, not all of them, but a good amount of them, and targets, and only 4K. So in that lead role. But if Jennings doesn't get ejected and he gets a couple more catches, we definitely hit that cash line, and that's how things go. Overall, I think it was a really good year in cash, profitable year once again. Of course, you always want to nail every single one of these slates, but that is not always how it happens. But thank you for joining me in these cash lineup reviews. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button if you like these reviews this year. Even though the end of the NFL season is over, and we're not going to be doing cash reviews or Millie Maker reviews anymore this year, we still got content coming your way for the NFL playoffs starting this week, specifically for DFS Army VIPs. They're going to do tournament tactics on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification button so you don't miss when they go live. But for DFS Army VIPs, we will have content coming all the rest of the playoffs. And by the way, if you have never tried being a DFS Army VIP yet, if you're not subscribed, you can give it a try for this month of the playoffs. And if you like it, you can stick around, do NBA, NHL. We have PGA, we have MMA, esports, you name it, we got it. Any of these sites, you sign up, use like Prize Picks, Sleeper, or Underdog, use code DFS Army and follow these instructions, and this gives you a free month. I will leave this in the video description, so check us out. And again, thank you for visiting these shows and watching these reviews, and we will see you all soon. Take care.